Hi everyone, my name is Brianna Daughtery and this is my video introduction in Module 1. This is my family. This is my fiance. His name is Michael. We're supposed to be getting married next September. We'll see what happens with COVID. This is our 6-year-old daughter. Her name is Lorelai. She just started the first grade and she's very full of life, to say the least. This is our big blended family that we have. This is my future in-laws, as well as my grandma and my mother, and then down here is a picture of our 4 generations because they're pretty important ladies to me in my world here. To give you a little background knowledge, I graduated from South Knox High School in 2011, moved on, and I started my my journey in education at Purdue University, and then I actually transferred and I moved back home, and I then finished my degree in elementary education as well as special education. Then I actually continued to teach at Vincent's University for the adult basic education program. So in short terms, students that did not have a high school diploma. And then I also took on English as a second language. So actually in last November, I decided that I needed something full-time because I was doing part-time without any benefits. And while that was great, I also needed something full-time to carry insurance and somewhere where I felt like I could possibly grow and become more. And I was at the highest that I already could be where I was teaching, so I decided to try a whole different new role, and I actually now work for TrueRx, which is a prescriptions benefit manager, as an account manager. I've been there since November of 2019, and it is a very interesting position. I learn something new all the time. Some days I feel I can't learn anymore, but here I am still learning. In my opinion, COVID has definitely affected everything. It's affected every person in every manner. Not being in school this year, I haven't felt it quite as much as I would. However, my daughter definitely has felt it because her classroom is completely different. Every morning is different. Every afternoon is different. The bus ride's different. The lunch is different. Everything in her world is different, which means in my world it is too. It did affect us where I was working. We all did work remotely for almost 3 months, and while that's great, there are challenges to it as well, especially when I'm still learning and things like that. So even now we are back in the office, but we all take turns. We have hybrid days where some of us work from home while others of us work from the office. But part of that is because our company's growing, and we don't actually have enough room for the people. But we're also not allowed. We did client reviews where we would go and see other clients and give their information for the year. We're not allowed to do that anymore. We do have to wear masks in our hallways or if we're in our cubes. We don't have to, but it is quite challenging. So for this, the mindsets, I really did like this because I'm a firm believer in all students can learn, especially coming from ABE. All students can learn. It's just a matter of some of them learn differently, and it's our job as a teacher to figure out how they learn. That's what's going to make a successful leader. If you don't change your ways, then nothing will ever come of that. Teacher collaboration and isolation was another mindset that we learned about in this, as well as happiness and optimism. The collaboration and isolation, collaboration is key, especially where I'm working now too. When I was teaching ABE, I was not able to collaborate with a lot of other educators because I was by myself a lot. And now I have a team that I actually work with on a daily basis, and we are constantly collaborating. We use Microsoft Teams, and we have a chat going all the time to ask questions of what's going on and if anyone's had situations, and we really thoroughly enjoy it. In happiness and autism, you have to be happy in what you're doing or you lose passion for it. And students know when teachers aren't happy. Students know when you don't like what you do. Just like when you go to a retail store, if you always say, well, they shouldn't work in retail if they don't like people. The same goes for teaching. For dispositions, we talked about the 5 dispositions. So confidence, having confidence, being a risk taker, and decisive. I'm working on that one. Have to have a sense of humor. It's not always serious. You got to laugh a little. Be empathetically assertive. You need to be empathetic towards them, but also getting somewhere. And you have to be willing to learn. Balancing dispositions is as important as some outweigh others. So, as educators, we have to balance what a healthy disposition to make ourselves and our students more successful. So, practices. This is something I'm working on all the time. So, something that we have to practice, and we need to focus and prioritize what's important. Examine feedback and data. When you have a teacher come in and do or a principal come in and do an observation, take notes from it, take the feedback, collect data, do what you can do. And emotional intelligence. This is something I am still doing actually this week with some things. So working in the environment that I do, I feel as like the real life experiences make more a way of is more of a learning element than prior knowledge any day. I did not know a single thing about insurance. I didn't carry my own insurance until I even got the job that I have. So I couldn't tell you what a deductible was or a out of pocket, max out of pocket. And now I can tell you so much more when it comes to insurance than I ever knew possible that a lot of people don't know. I also felt that teaching, like I could take all the classes. I was prepared. I'd been to school for 4 years. I knew everything that I needed. And then I go to the classroom and it's nothing what I could have prepared for. Every day is something that no matter how much knowledge you have and book smarts, as I say, experience is what's going to also be your biggest teacher. We also talked about there are 8 principles of ethical leadership. So personal courage, public interest ahead of self, having self-control, self-discipline, and integrity, having task and employee centeredness, recognizing talent, requiring high ethics from everyone, sensitivity and understanding, and inclusiveness. This is something that we actually had a conversation on my meeting yesterday about our culture changing in our work environment. You have to be able to adapt to those things. You have to be able to include. No one wants to be left out when it comes to any aspect of life. You want to be included into something, even if it's a simple group message or going out to lunch, things like that. You always want to practice. You want people to be included. You want to have encouraged in all of those things. So a quote that I really liked from this reading was actually the last line of it. Solid ethical practices are inspiring to follow, earning respect for instructional authority, and leading by example. I always tell my kid to lead by example. Like, do what she wants to be done, act how she wants to be, and I think that's something that's important as we go on. Practices have been something that I have been working on with my current position as an account manager. We're entering a really busy time. It's called the fourth quarter. Because everybody decides to change their insurance come January 1st. So it's impossible for me to get approval on everything. So sometimes I just have to take the initiative and say, I think this is how it is. And if not, then I learn from my mistakes. I also am learning to focus and prioritize. You should see my task board right now at work. It is insane because of the amount of work I have. I also am realizing that like my team is wanting me to be successful because then my team is also successful. So when they're giving me feedback, I've always been taking it as a negative thing, whereas now I'm realizing it's more positive. They're in my corner and they're going to be the critics. They want me to be the best that I can be and help our team grow. So when teachers and educators are given the right support, they are able to move mountains. when given mindsets to follow, dispositions, practices, and principles of ethical leadership. They all have a foundation, and we have a foundation to build success upon. While a lot of these things are focused on the educational role, I also believe that they take turn in everyday world. I mean, I'm not doing anything in education right now, so other than these classes, and so many of these related to what I was doing, just as any type of career. There's something you want to have when you're in a career and you're wanting to move forward and things like that. So I did find that very interesting. The standard correlation. This assignment provides a foundation that all educators can build off of and use to be successful. It's relevant by completing this assignment. I was reminded how mindsets, practices, principles, and dispositions are something that I use even in my current position. I think that this assignment will help me as a future leader assess how I can continue to build and improve myself, not only as just a worker, but as a leader on my team and of my company. I look forward to this class. Oh, here are my references. I look forward to this class and all that we have to learn, and I can't wait to see where it takes us.